Hi, this is Jaideep Rana here. So in this video, we'll be learning the basics of currying in JavaScript. This is what we'll be covering as part of this video. Before we start with currying, make sure you are familiar with the following JavaScript concepts. I'll be creating a video on these separately in the future. Let's talk about the brief history of currying. Currying was first introduced by Mr. Gottlob. It was then developed by Mr. Moses, and it was then further developed by Haskell Curry. The word curry in currying is a reference to him, and he is also the person after whom the famous functional programming language Haskell is named after. All these three individuals were logicians and mathematicians. Now, let's see what is currying. Currying is a technique where you have a multi-argument function with a desired output D, and you transform that function into a sequence of unary functions. Unary functions are functions that take only one argument in such a way that the argument D remains the same. So essentially, after this transformation, the desired output should remain the same. For example, let's say we had some function which was taking 1, 2, and 3 as the argument, and 4 was the desired output. Then if we were to transform it into curry function, it will be like the parent function will take the argument as 1, the child function will take argument as 2, and the grandchild argument function will take the argument as 3, and the final output will remain the same, which in this example is 4. So let me give a demo to explain this concept further. Let's say I have a method called greet, and it takes in 3 parameters, and using those parameters what I'm trying to achieve is I basically want to greet that person. So the first parameter will be the greeting. So this is like, let's say if they are in US, and let's say it's morning time, probably people will wish each other morning and all. Like that is the way they wish there. Title, like it's depends upon the person. If that person is a male, then probably we want to add Mr. And name is the name of the person. So that is the scenario of US. Let's say if that person is in India, then probably we'll greet him with the namaste. And yeah, namaste I think is a very popular greeting here. However, India is so diverse. There are so many other ways, like someone says vanakam, some says sat sahib. So there are so many ways. And yeah, the same scenario goes there. Like if it's a male, then it's Mr., and if it's a Mrs., then we can add Mrs. So that's the scenario. So I'm calling this greet method with all these parameters. So let's see what is the problem with this approach. Well, if we see, there are some arguments that are getting duplicated. For example, in this piece of code, we can say morning is getting duplicated 4 times. And in this piece of code, we can see the title is getting duplicated 2 times. The same is the case here as well. Like we can see namaste is being duplicated multiple times, and likewise title is also duplicated. So what is the problem with this approach? Well, it's violating the try principle, which is do not repeat yourself, as there's a lot of duplication. The other thing is, if you have read Clean Code book by Robert C. Martin, who's also known as Uncle Bob, he recommends that a function should have as little arguments as possible. So let's see, can we solve this problem using curry? So before we implement curry, please recall curry is nothing but a sequence of function that takes in only one argument. So with that in mind, let's try to implement it. So I'll call the function that I'm creating greet curried, and the first parameter will be greeting, and that will be the only parameter for the parent function. Then the next one will take title, and it will return another function, and the last one will take name as the parameter. So I'll copy the same code as that was there in the greet method, because I don't want to change the output. So let's see, will it solve our problem. So I'll call this greet current function, and I'll pass morning as the argument. So what it will do is morning will be added here, and it will return me this function, which takes in title and returns me this function. So let me extract it into a variable. Let me call it morning for now, and this morning method expects a title in the name. So let me add Mr. here. Like I want to start with the gentleman first. I'll call it morning Mr. So what it will do is now I have this method. Let me call it. So if I call morning Mr. and let's say I pass Arnold here, and voila, we can see morning Mr. Arnold, because this morning Mr. is nothing but this function, and we are passing Arnold. And the reason all these values which are morning Mr. are retained, because of the concept of closure in JavaScript. So that's why before learning curry you need to be familiar with closure. But in a very simple terms, what it means is, all these values of the parent functions will be retained. So in the innermost function you can access all these values that you have supplied. Now let's add this for the remaining as well. So I'll call John here, and for Jane and Jasmine we want it to be Mrs. So let's quickly do it. And we can see we are covered with this part. Let's complete the final part quickly. So greet curried, and we'll pass namaste, and namaste, I'll call it with Mr. And since we have ladies here as well, so I'll do it for them as well quickly, so that we can save some time. Now it's just a matter of calling the function, and oops, I forgot to add Mr. Now the final part. And we can see the output is the same. However, let's see now what have we achieved using curry. So if we see using curry, we have gotten rid of all the duplication. So nowhere morning is getting duplicated, and likewise for the case of Arnold and John, nowhere Mr. is getting duplicated. So it has solved one problem, which is the dry problem that we were facing before. The other benefit we got out of this is like the code is so concise. Like if you read the method morning Mr. John, it's like so readable. Just from reading it you can know okay what it is doing. You don't need to spend too much time thinking about it, whereas previously it was like greet morning Mr., like it was so verbose. So one problem is solved. Other benefit that you got from this query is the composability. We have the same method. The method did not change. We have get curried, and using this we were able to compose different methods. We were able to compose morning Mr., morning Mrs., and likewise namaste Mr. and namaste Mrs. So I hope you will be able to appreciate uh, the concept of currying better now. Thank you for watching the video, and I'll see you in the next video.